the second time already tonight that Elk River's had a 3-0 run, and I always watch for that. Those one-and-done opportunities, that's what Spring Lake Park's had so far. The team that goes on the runs is typically the one that's going to win the match.
We talked with Joy Johnston before the match. She said one of the constants of her team this year, hustling on defense, and we saw it right there with the sprawling play from Herzog, just trying to keep it alive. Swung back over by Morrell. Pretty good receive in the back row by the Elks. Langben will swing it over and goes down for the point for Elk River.
And we're going to get a timeout here from Spring Lake Park. There's already 5 errors on the first round set for Spring Lake Park, and those are the type of things that if you are not the taller team, if you're not the more experienced team, you've got to be the team that doesn't make the mistakes. You've got to be the more consistent team, and so far we have not seen that from Spring Lake Park. Talked about the 2 runs already, and only 1 error so far for Elk River as opposed to 5 so far for Spring Lake Park. So we take a look at the upcoming Spring Lake Park schedule. They'll be at Buffalo coming up on Friday, and then next Tuesday a home match with Irondale. Next Friday at Osseo, and then back home with the rival here, Totino Grace.
Elk River just coming off a victory over that same Buffalo team who Spring Lake Park will see next. They are out to a 3-0 start to the season. The Elks, Spring Lake Park, are 0-2. Back here with Ella Johnson. She's got an early kill already this evening for Elk River. Pounded back over, but wide, just towing that line and missing the mark. So it is a 10-3 run for Elk River to start the evening. Swing by Lily Morrell, just not quite there for the Panthers. Set from Preuss. Get it back over with Langben. Panthers return it. Preuss will set again. And it's swung back over by Maddie Anderson. Gesselhart sets it up. Morrell knocks it down.
And that breaks up the 5-0 run. Good swing there by France off the set from Geiselhart, as you mentioned there. Really well played offensively there for the Panthers as they break that 5-0 run and receive the serve. Ashlyn Peterson.
Talented 2-sport athlete, one of a couple of softball players on the Panther team. Talking with Joy Johnston before the game. Another big swing from Lily Morrell, the 5'8" senior captain. Getting some velocity on that one. The return went out of bounds. And Spring Lake Park, a couple in a row for them after the early run for Elk River. And it is Ashlyn Peterson serving. Here's Langben tipping it through the block. They try to set up Morrell. That one coming back to the Spring Lake Park end. Morrell tries again. Handled in the front row by Langben. They set up a back row attack that's dropped in by Amelia Smith. The senior's first kill here tonight.
Nice play there by Smith. She saw the opening right in the middle and just floated it over the front line. No way the back line could get to it, and the side out over to the Elks.
11-5 is the Elk River lead. Playing a 25 here in the opening set in the best of 5. Anderson with the serve for the Elks in red. Going to the senior once again. Morrell right through the block with power. Her second kill, getting the serve back here for Spring Lake Park.
Yeah, you watch here again, that's back set. Double team comes their way, but able to fight through it. Kiana Hillary unable to knock it down.
And that one not returned there. And Spring Lake Park tries to put together a little run here to get back into this thing. Substitution bringing back in Addie France, 6-foot senior captain who's listed as a right side middle blocker. She plays some outside hitter, can play all around, and has got at times really dangerous serve. So there's a little bit of everything for this Spring Lake Park team. That was France getting it back over. Set by Anderson, swung to the back row just a little bit too deep from Jordan Langben, the senior. And it's a third consecutive point here for Spring Lake Park.
And a mistake there for Elk River. There was a lot of miscommunication by Spring Lake Park. They had a free ball, Elk River did, and hit it out of bounds on their own. The error.
Alexa Melcher handled that one in the back row on the serve receive, and Diana Hillary into the netting once more. 4-0 run here for Spring Lake Park.
4-0, and also 6 of the last 7 have gone the way of Spring Lake Park. It's going to be 7 of 8.
Morrell slamming down the ace serve to make it a 1-point set, number 1 now.
Now we see Elk River, the team that's kind of making some of the mistakes that they weren't making earlier.
We mentioned Elk River taking the last 6 contests in the series. There have been some close calls in that stretch, however. Going back to 2015, Maddie Anderson setting once again that back row strike. Langben trying to toe that back line and just misses again.
Really an impressive run here. Remember, Joy Johnston took a timeout. It was 9-3, and really was able to calm down her team. And since that time, only 1 point for Elk River, and now 8 in that stretch for Spring Lake Park. They've tied things up at 11.
Teresa Brummer thinking, hey, that worked pretty well, that timeout thing. Maybe I'll give it a go. As the Elk River coach calls the timeout this time. That's Joy Johnston, as we mentioned, in her 9th season as the head coach at Spring Lake Park. A record of 59 and 109 in the last few seasons. Johnston's led the Panthers to an 11-18 record last year. She coaches a lot of high club level volleyball at Northern Lights as well. And there's Teresa Brummer, who is in her 10th season, over 100 wins in her tenure as the Elks head coach.
As you mentioned, really some good success at Elk River, including that run in the state tournament back in 2019. Was able to make the first state tournament appearance. So really has things rolling at Elk River.
Tied up at 11s. Brummer and the Elks taking the timeout after seeding a run here by Spring Lake Park. A lot of that accomplished here with the serving of Lily Morrell, the 5'8" senior captain. One of the leaders on the floor. Put it across here for SLP once again. They set up their big. France slams it into the block as that one is stuffed back. Natalie Murphy was getting up there along with Diana Hillary in tandem to get a little piece of that. This one tipped back over by France, pushed back over by the Elks. And France can't run it through the block that time. And a miss hit on the Spring Lake Park ends. A 4-hit rally, sending it back here to the Elk River side, and they now lead it 13-11. 2-0 run by the Elks coming out of that timeout. Nice swing of the fist there just to get it over by Nussbaum. Bought through the block by Amelia Smith, and that one gets down for Elk River. 14-11. They've scored 3 since the timeout.
Timeouts seem to be effective here so far.
Both coaches have got one in their back pocket left in this set. And the serve too deep that time from Langben. I haven't seen too many service errors yet here this evening. Now we'll get it back to Spring Lake Park.
It'll be interesting to see how Spring Lake Park favors here. They went on that long run, the 6-0 run the last time they had the serve.
That's Lauren Rowe, the junior middle, serving. And that one tipped back over. So it looked like getting it down for the Elks was Diana Hillary, a 5'9" sophomore. And the serve is back to the libero, Alexa Melcher, a 5'6" senior captain. That one swung in too deep by the Panthers, and the Elks get the point. 16-12, they lead it now. Melcher is going to get the serve once again for the Elks. She's wearing the white libero jersey. Is one of 3 third-year varsity players on this Elks team. Not surprisingly, those are the 3 senior captains with all that varsity experience already under their belt. Melcher missing with the serve that time, and this will rotate it back to Brianna Nussbaum, the junior setter for the Panthers. Anderson trying to set Johnson, and a big stop. Rita Schmidt got fired up about that one.
That was a great play there defensively for Spring Lake Park. Coming in the middle, that's the toughest place, obviously, to defend, and cutting across there for Elk River, number 4, Ella Johnson. But the nice tag team block defensively for Spring Lake Park.
Nussbaum swung it over for Spring Lake Park, but a point with Kiana Hillary, the sophomore, cruising in with her second kill of the evening. And this will be back to, again, Addison Preuss, the 5'7" junior, who is the setter, 1 of 2 in the offense for Elk River. Run a 6-2 with her and Anderson. Langben kept it alive. Preuss just swung it back over. Free ball. We'll see what the Panthers can do with it now. Deep shot on the strike from Greta Herzog, and it's a point to the Elks.
As this first set gets into the waning points, those mistakes can be even more magnetized, and you see just a good swing, but too strong.
Spring Lake Park trying to rally. France got all of that one. Really nice dig in the back row by the Elks to keep it alive. It was Jordan Langben, the captain, who plays all around in the rotation. Now Spring Lake Park trying to swing it back over, and that one is down.
That was the second time in the rally that Langben had a tremendous dig to keep the rally alive, but the second time coming off that hand a little crooked, and so Spring Lake Park picks up the point, back to within 3.
Serve this time from Addie France, the 6-footer. A tip back by Johnson, the 6'2" senior. Pushed it out wide of the line, and Spring Lake Park with the point. They're within 2.
It's the second time she's taken that little 2-3 step run into it. That time a little more out of balance, it seemed.
Langben has had some terrific digs in the back row that we've seen. That one not her best effort. He's kind of punching at it, and it ends up being an ace for the Panthers. France again with the serve. The coach was calling France her serve very aggressive. She really puts a lot into it. And seen a little bit of a dispute on the point, which was just awarded here to Spring Lake Park. And thought for a second maybe the officials were going to get together and see about getting a second look, but it is going to stand here, and it's a tie set number 1, 18-18. Set up and swung at by Smith. Hit it off the top of the net, and it stayed on the Elk River ends. Point to the Panthers.
Spring Lake Park's first lead since it was 1-0. This has been mostly led by Elk River, and now we will be tied.
Service error for Spring Lake Park. That'll rotate back here to Amelia Smith with libero Melcher looking on. Smith with a couple of kills tonight. One of the outside hitters in the rotation for the Elks. Big swing by Lily Morrell once again. And one ripped back through from number 3, Maddie Anderson. System, Nussbaum setting up Herzog, who slams it through for Spring Lake Park. They've got the lead again. It's 20-19.
Well, and this is a really key moment in set number 1 is France is out of the game. She had to rotate out last time through, so she is out of the match right now.
Ella Geiselhart, the libero, serving that last one for the Panthers. Tip back over by Anderson. Didn't look like a lot to handle. But a little bit of a mistake on the Spring Lake Park ends. This one coming back here after a diving effort from Geiselhart, the libero in the back row. Here's Ella Johnson again. Swings it down with authority.
And that was a really great set to set that up. That ball came in really close to the net, and watch how Nussbaum pushes it away just a bit, and it allows Morrell to get some momentum on the left-hand side.
saw it, then I heard it. Ashlyn Peterson with that last serve. She was the one laying out with the dig to keep it alive for the Panthers, and some applause from the home fans as Stout sent it back over. Anderson with the swing. Another dive by the Panthers, trying to come up with another terrific dig was Nussbaum, but it's down for Elk River, and we're tied at 21 here in the first set.
Really good effort to try and keep it alive, but just unable to do so. We've been tied at 19, 20, and now 21.
Serve from Maddie Anderson. Blocked up at the line, and then left by Natalie Murphy and Diana Hillary. It is out for Elk River to pick up the point and the lead once again.
Remember what I talked about early, the team that makes those little runs late is the team that always tends to come out, and we'll see if Elk River can make a late run here after Spring Lake Park's put a scare into them.
Anderson stepping up after serving. Tipped at by Murphy to just get it back over the net. Oh, big swing from Morrell. Nice job by the libero Melcher. And then Langband swings it back over for the Elks. Handled by Smith. Set by Anderson. Swung through. But pulling up just wide there. They're going to give the point to Spring Lake Park.
Yeah, that hit the antenna, and so here comes France back into the game. So France had to sit through that, and Spring Lake Park was able to survive that. Now 22 all. Morrell the serve, and France back up in front.
Two captains on the floor with Morrell serving. And batted up against the net by Anderson, trying to save it. And the Panthers now 2 away from taking the opening set. Timeout coming from what looked like the Elk River side of the floor, and Teresa Brummer. So we stop here down the stretch of what's been a really tight opening first set, 22-23, with Spring Lake Park leading it over the Elk River Elks.
Well, and this is the type of a set right here where Spring Lake Park, they lost their first match of the year to Roseville 3-0. They were competitive against Mounds View, ended up losing 3-2. This is the type of a set that you've got to find a way to win if you're going to end up breaking a 6-game losing streak, get your first conference win, get your first regular season win. This is the type of a match. You were down 10-3 to start the match. You really put yourself in a hole, were able to battle your way back, and now here it is for the taking. The question is, can Spring Lake Park take it?
And Spring Lake Park, who last year finished somewhat respectably, 11-18, but they were dragged down by such a rough start to the season. They remember that from a year ago, lost 8 straight matches to open the year. They dropped 10 sets in a row, in fact, to open the year until they beat Elk River in the second set. A match they would go on to lose, hoping to flip that script from a year ago. But Elk River gets the point back out of that timeout, and we're back to a 1-point set one. Playing to 25, got to win by 2. This is Jordan Langbend now serving for the Elks. Tip back over. Might have just caught the line, and they're going to award it to Elk River, which will make it set point here in game number 1. And that last timeout is going to be used from the Spring Lake Park end of the floor. Now the 24-23 game, very close.
Oh, that was very close. If we watch back here again, slow it down, that's in my opinion. That hit the line. That should have been a point for Spring Lake Park. Right there. In my opinion, that ball, just enough of it.
I thought so watching it live.
I thought as well that it was in live. I actually think it was further out than I thought it was. But it's not that the bottom part, it's not the very bottom of the ball. If any part of the ball touches any part of the line, that ball is in. And in my opinion, that ball hit a piece of the line. That should have been a point for Spring Lake Park. And now you find yourself down, and so you feel like maybe you had one taken away potentially, and now you have to go again and take it.
That's like going from 1-1 to 1-2. It could have been set point here for Spring Lake Park. Instead, they got their backs against the wall. Morrell tries to rip a swing down to the other end. Amelia Smith sends it back over, dug out by Geselhart. And then ripped back over by Addie France, handled by the libero on the Elks end. Taking a swing at it was Hillary. Here's the return from France to the back row. A net violation going against the Elks to tie us up at 24.
Watch there. Yep, they came into the net. Cannot land inside that white line either. So for 24 all.
Lauren Rowe, the junior, trying to break it at 24 all now. First team now to get to 26. Got to win by 2, so not set point as yet. Set along the front line, near side pin, and it is through for Amelia Smith to once again get Elk River to their second set point opportunity of the game. It's libero Melcher trying to finish it off with the serve. France in the block. That'll do it for Elk River. Ella Johnson, the 6'2" middle, was up for the stuff along with Hillary, and the Elks take game number 1 in the best of 5, 26-24, as we step aside here in North Metro TV with the Elks up after 1 game.
Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing the song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
The past comes alive at North Metro TV, where we can help you transfer your old videotapes, films, cassette tapes, record albums, and even photographs and slides to DVD and digital so you can enjoy them again. North Metro TV, bringing the past to life.
Back inside Spring Lake Park High School, it is Elk River hanging on by a thread to take set number 1, 26-24 in that opening frame. Looking at the highlights here from that first half, and Nick, it was a big lead for Elk River as they led out 10-3 early in this one, but then the Panthers starting to put together a rally to get back into this one.
Yeah, it was impressive the way Spring Lake Park came back. Not only did they erase that lead, they erased it very quickly. It was a 7-point lead for Elk River, but then Spring Lake Park scored 8 of the next 9 points to tie it at 11, and then all of a sudden it was very back and forth. We were tied at 11, we were tied at 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, and 24 before Spring Lake Park finally fell on those last points. I mean, you start out 10-3. You don't expect for all those lead changes and some high drama late in the match, and give a lot of credit to Spring Lake Park. I mean, that's the type of a match that when you struggle a bit, you may not be able to regroup midway through a set like that, and they were able to force Elk River to really work at it. I mean, that was a match that ended up with 7 ties, 6 lead changes. I mean, they led this match 19-18, 23-22. They had an opportunity to eke out that first set. Weren't able to, but you got to believe that that builds and gives them some confidence that, yes, they can compete with this Elk River team for the rest of the night.
Absolutely, and they've done it so far the last few years. We said Spring Lake Park, they haven't rolled over against the Elks during the 6-game losing streak. Elk River won 3-1 last year at Elk River. There was a game that went to 5 sets in the 2020 matchup. St. Louis Park, Spring Lake Park in that one had a 2-set-to-1 lead at one point for the Elks. Took the last 2, so it's been very close, and just those little things in execution at the end of sets like that have been the difference in Elk River once again doing that against Spring Lake Park.
I'm wondering, was that Italian food? Was that Chinese food? And if so, do they serve that at the concession stand?
That looked
here
above
at Spring Lake
average
Park? Yeah, that was
for a high school concession
I'm
stand.
going to wonder that now. I mean, what was it, and do they serve it at the concession stand? You know, I mean, we've talked about that before. Sometimes you see some different things that are at different concession stands throughout the different high school football or volleyball, indoor, outdoor matches, what have you, and you never know.
What, chicken wings or something? Addison Preuss, who got us started in the match with the serve. Doing it again for Elk River. Set up, slammed down by Ella Johnson, who got all the way up with her 6'2" frame to rip it back down for her second kill.
Good start here for Elk River. Good swing there from the middle. Pick up the 1-0 lead. I was going to say, I think the best one I ever had was in, I want to say, is we've got a service error to tie things up. I think I was in Maple Grove last year, and they had a full spread. I think it was Olive Garden. Brought it in for like $8. You could have pasta, breadsticks, salad. Not bad for a high school basketball game.
Usually it's just bringing in the truckload of pizzas to sell by the slice. That's next level. One ripped there by Amelia Smith. Wow. Great dive from Langben, who we praise as being an all-around player, outside hitter who can play the back row, and she's still hobbling a little bit as she watches her teammates slam it through. And Maddie Anderson applied the final touch. Anderson went over to high-five Langben for giving her that opportunity to make the play.
Yeah, Anderson gets the kill there, but that was Langben's point. That nothing happens there if Langben doesn't make that tremendous save, which ends up going over the net as well. That was the third hit.
2-1 lead for Elk River. Amelia Smith, who we had leading the Elks with 3 kills in that first set, lunges forward to keep the play alive. And it was ripped back through by Anderson. Point will be going to Elk River here.
That's a double hit on Spring Lake Park, so an error there on the Panthers, giving Elk River a 2-point lead. And the last thing you want to do if you're Spring Lake Park after you had that really good comeback, that really competitive finish, is to fall behind early. So it's important for the Panthers to cut this one off, which they cannot do here.
Easy pickings for Jordan Langben. She thought must have got a piece of the net. And the point is going to Spring Lake Park here.
We take a look here. Yeah, she came over the net.
Eyes just got big swinging at that one. Nice back set there and a mid-air adjustment by Ella Johnson to get it through. That one hammered down from Greta Herzog. Third kill we got for number 10 in blue for Spring Lake Park. One of 6 varsity returners to the Panther squad from Joy Johnson. He said Spring Lake Park lacking in a little bit of size against Elk River and also in experience of former varsity players, but they were hanging tough with the Elks in that first set, losing 26-24. A scramble up to the net by Elk River, not coming back despite the efforts of Addie Prouse trying to kind of tiptoe around Langben, who went down to keep it alive. Point for Spring Lake Park to give them a 4-3 lead. Panthers senior Addie France will serve once again. She really does live dangerously, trying to power one right over the top of the net. Got it over that time, but Elk River gets the point.
It's almost a knuckleball. There's almost no movement whatsoever. And so the trajectory stays very close to the net, but not to be this time, as Elk River was ready for it.
Little dump set from Preuss, and now Ella Johnson serves. Set by Nussbaum. Morell with the swing, goes up into the rafters. Elk River still able to get it over, and then it's slammed down by Herzog.
Elk River a little out of sorts there as that ball hit one of the trusses up in the ceiling here and kind of threw everybody off, but Spring Lake Park was ready for it. Herzog.
Rita Schmidt skimmed the net, pushed it wide. Service error for the Panthers, tipping it back over here to Elk River. And it'll be Maddie Anderson's turn now, the 5'8" junior. averaging about a kill per set, nearly 3 assists per set. That one's stuffed back down. Natalie Murphy that time, the 5'10" senior. She's the other middle behind Ella Johnson. And it is 6-5 Elk River. Elks lead the match 1-0. Anderson with the service ace. Third of the game for the Elks.
A little bit of a run here for Elk River. 3 in a row and 4 of the last 5.
Going up to push that one back. Block for Jordan Langben, who went over the net that last time she had a similar opportunity. That time pushing it back. 8-5 Elks now. We mentioned her 3-0 to start the season. Anderson serving again. Last year they were 0-3 at this time. 3 games into the season, as Spring Lake Park will put a stop to that Elk run there with the kill from Herzog. Their first win of the season was a victory over Spring Lake Park in the conference opener last year, but played in the other team's gym over in Elk River. And that one a double hit on the Elks as it was swatted back over by Raya Kangas, and that'll be a point going to the Panthers. Set from Anderson, trying to tee up Murphy. Was swatted back to the back row. Elks force it back over somehow. And here come the Panthers. Ripping it through was Morrell once again. And it's just got a different sound when it's coming off number 4 in blue.
Yeah, nice job by Morrell. And you just keep attacking. And if you keep putting it in the right spot, you're going to be able to pick up those points.
She is listed at 5'8", but talking to her coach, Joy Johnson, said really smart about her attack placement. That just got a piece of one of the Panther paws, and so going for an Elk River point as that one was ripped through. Okay, it tipped off of Morrell. Langben got the kill. She will be back to serve now for Elk River. Bump back over and a free ball by Morrell. Geselhart passes to Morrell, who slams it through, and she's got another one. 5 kills for the senior captain.
And now we'll see Addie France rotate in.
You're tied up at 9-9 after another one rifled through from Lily Morrell. Is back with the service and the delivery for Spring Lake Park. Angus ripped it through, sent back by France, who just came in off the bench. Melcher swung it over. Tip shot up at the net. Nicely done for Spring Lake Park. And Brianna Nussbaum, the setter, picking up the kill that time.
Recovery again for Spring Lake Park. They've won 5 of the last 6, leading now for the first time since it was 4-3 in the match.
This is Morrell, who's one of those 6 players that got varsity minutes last year for the Panther program. And sprawling effort from Geselhart, but to no avail as that one's down after the touch from Kangas. And it stops the Panther run, ties us up at 10. Nice little tip shot from Kangas there as we get a second look. Kangas with a bump set back over. Panthers having a tough time with it. France will send a free ball right back. Set, ripped, and that is going to go to Spring Lake Park as it was just pushed wide from Ella Johnson.
And give Lily Morrell that point. She was the one who made the pancake block down on the far end in order to save that. previous to France putting it over and then the ball being hit out by Elk River. So we're having a conversation now, the two officials.
It was clearly out, so I would think the conversation would be, did it tip off of one of the Panther players on its way out, maybe? Officials getting together with the line judge as well for the discussion. Joy Johnston with a look at consternation.
And you can hear, at least, we can read the lips of the libero for Elk River, Alexa Melcher. She tipped it, but not to be.
11-10 is the scoreline favoring SLP. Gesselhart with the serve. She's the libero. Oh, trying to handle it. Sprawling play by France. Gesselhart not enough on it to just swing the free ball back over, and that will tie us back up at 11 all. Addie Preuss goes back to serve once again for Elk River. Set from Nussbaum. Back row attack this time from Morrell, showing off her versatility. Got her for 6 kills tonight, Lily Morrell. And they'll hand the ball off now to Brianna Nussbaum, serving for Spring Lake Park. Service error, third of the evening for the Panthers. Making a tie set number 2 once again, a dozen apiece.
Back and forth we go. The last 6 points have been traded between these two teams. So ties at 10, 11, and 12 here in the middle goings.
Official coming out on the far side there for a quick word with the judge up on the ladder. Here's Smith finally getting underway with her serve. Handled at the line, trying to toe that back line. Greta Herzog missed the mark. And the hitting error gives the point back to Elk River, who lead it 13-12 now. Elk River's won 2 games at home. This would be their second road win of the season if they can pull it off here and hoping to take a big commanding 2-0 lead. Pushed off the antenna by France to give the point to the Elks. (14-12) now is the lead. Here's Smith once again, too deep. 4 errors for Elk River now on the serves. And it goes back to Spring Lake Park. Panthers went 5 sets in their last game. It was last Wednesday before the Labor Day weekend, and they lost here at home to Mounds View. So they have been really in both of their games. Morrell thought that maybe was going to be a net violation against the Elks. Spring Lake Park ended up getting the point regardless, so it is going to tie us up at 14 apiece. Double peace signs up there for Morrell. Peace and love, that's what she was saying. That one's out on a missed serve. And it is going back to Elk River, 15-14 now. This is Ella Johnson, 6'2" middle. Good serve to Morrell, setting Herzog, sent it back to the back row where Johnson handled it. Ripped on through by Maddie Anderson. 4th kill for the 5'8" junior tonight. And it's a 2-point Elk River lead. And a really nice back set from Addie Preuss as well.
5 of the last 7 now going Elk River's way as they've put together a bit of a run to build this 2-point advantage. And a miss hit's going to make it 17-14, and a little bit of a danger zone here, and you can see it. You can almost feel when a timeout's coming, and Joy Johnston felt it there. She calls the timeout as Elk River 6 of the last 8 points, and starting to build a little bit of a lead here in this late part of the set. As Elk River, a very different set from the first set, where Elk River built a big lead, Spring Lake Park had to kind of scrap and claw their way back into it. In the second set, it's been very back and forth. We've had ties at 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 14. That's 10 out of the 14 points for Spring Lake Park have been via a tie of some sort. So a very close match, but Elk River starting to build a lead at 3 points here. Tied for their biggest lead of the game. They also led 8-5 a little bit earlier. So a danger zone here for Spring Lake Park.
17-14 is the Elk River advantage. Remember, they had that 10-3 lead in set number 1 that they almost let slip away. Had to go a little bit into the extra points, won 26-24. Did the Elks to take that opening game. Ella Johnson committing the 5th service error for the Elks today. Spring Lake Park's had 4 of them. Panthers lead in aces 5-3 by my count here tonight so far. And that one a service error right back the other way as Rita Schmidt sent it in too deep. 18-15 now. Elk River leads it. Maddie Anderson once again, who is a setter for a 2nd straight year and ran the offense with Ellie Cotton last year, who was a do-it-all type of player for Elk River. She's now running the show with Addie Preuss in the 2-setter offense for the Elks. Set back by Anderson, ripped over by Kangas, and Elk River takes the point with the Elks leading now 19-15.
And this is a 4-point lead now. This is the biggest lead of the set for Elk River. Spring Lake Park has not led in the match by more than 1 point at any time.
Anderson serving again. By Geselhart, they set up the pass to Herzog, who again has that big size up the net to contend with. We were talking with Joy Johnson about it before the match. Not a block there, but you can see Spring Lake Park with the size up the net from Elk River. They've got to think about placing their shots a little bit more, especially when they've got Ella Johnson up front. Middle behind her, Natalie Murphy out. She's listed at just 5'8". They've done a nice job up there as well too. That one rattling off the ceiling here in the Panther gym, and that is a friendly Spring Lake Park bounce off the top to get the Panthers a much needed point here. Tough sledding there, trying to chase that one down off the deflection way up there.
This is a huge service for Spring Lake Park.
Served over by Ashlyn Peterson. Received by Geselhart. Set it up with Nussbaum. They got it to who they wanted to, Lily Morrell, but swings it too deep. And it's 21-16 in that crucial potential turning point here in set number 2. And you do not want to go down 2-0 to anybody, but in particular this pretty accomplished Elk River team. Morrell tips it over the block, and you'll say too many hits on the Elk River side. 21-17 stops the bleeding a little bit here for the Panthers, but they need to put together a run now. Morrell is back to serve, leads the team with 6 kills tonight. Langbend receives, set up to the front line of the net. Swung back over by Natalie Murphy for Elk River. Now a dump set from Anderson trying to catch the Panthers by surprise. Rattled through by Nussbaum, the setter, to get her 2nd kill in a big time to do it, as it makes it 18-21 with Spring Lake Park still trailing. Nice job just to swing it right off the block using Murphy's size against her there. Ripped to the back row. It was well handled by Morrell, and then she gets the pass right back to her to swing it over. Kangas too strong. Spring Lake Park putting together a little run here to get within 2. 19-21 now.
This is exactly what Spring Lake Park needed to do, scoring 4 of the last 5 points after being down 20-15. They've been able to put a little run to close that gap, but can they get past and climb ahead?
Set a tip shot from Smith on the pass from Anderson. Bumped back over by the Panthers. Anderson setting Kangas that time. Received by the Panthers, but they can't get it back over into the net. And a point for Elk River, 22-19. And the Elks are 3 away from going up 2-0 in the match. This is Alexa Melcher, 5'6" senior libero serving. Just reactions from Morrell, just to push it back over. Kangas arced it over the blockers. Morrell swings a low liner, skimming over the top of the net. Received by Melcher, passing it to Kangas. She knocks it off of France and down for the Elk point. A little bit of a grimace from Raya Kangas. He's like, not exactly what I meant to do, but I'll take it. 23-19 as a timeout here is coming once again from the Spring Lake Park side, and Joy Johnston trying to rally the troops here with her team now facing the possibility of being down 2-0 in this race to 25 in set number 2.
Yeah, just too close to the net. Bad angle there. Dropped right into France and just unable to recover.
Johnson in her 9th season at the helm of the Panther program. She's also coached parts of 12 seasons at Northern Lights and the club scene in volleyball, which has exploded so much in the state of Minnesota the last couple of decades. And all that work at the club level, you're seeing that talent and skill development come at younger ages, and we see it certainly here in the high school courts. There's a rip at it from France. Stuffed back by Johnson. France laid out to try to keep it alive, and it's going to be set point here coming up for Elk River. All started with the big play at the net from Ella Johnson. And that one's not coming back. An ace serve from Alexa Melcher to finish off set number 2 in a final that goes down for Elk River 25-19, and they are up 2-0 in this best of 5. The Elks will try to finish it off against the Panthers in 3 when we come back on North Metro TV.
Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing the song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
The past comes alive at North Metro TV, where we can help you transfer your old videotapes, films, cassette tapes, record albums, and even photographs and slides to DVD and digital so you can enjoy them again. North Metro TV, bringing the past to life.
2-0. Elk River now leads Spring Lake Park as we head to the 3rd set in this best of 5. Matt Deed alongside Nick Walsh here for North Metro TV. Volleyball is a game of runs, and it was Elk River who ended up running away with this one by the end of it.
Yeah, we talked about that, particularly late. Elk River was kind of battling through the first middle goings as it was back and forth, but after a 14-14 tie, Elk River was able to run off 6 of the last 7 to take a 20-15 lead. And then after Spring Lake Park got it to within 21-19, it was Elk River finishing off the set with the final 4 points of set number 2. And so really kind of a heartbreaking first set. And then the second set where, that tends to happen where you get a team and they get on a little bit of a run. I talked about it right away from the outset, is that a team that can put those runs together. And I was just kind of taking a look. I'm old enough at this point to remember when they didn't do the rally scoring and you had to score a point on offense with the serve in order to score points. And Elk River was just able to do more of that, where they were able to put up runs. I was just kind of counting the traditional scoring, and they would have won this match 13-8. In the old days, back in the before times, you had to. It was a 15-point game instead of a 25-point game. So just creating more offense with the serve. Elk River so far today, they've been able to do that, and that's why they're up 2-0. And
so opportunity here for the sweep for the Elks on the road to try to continue their unbeaten run and start out the 2022 season 4-0. Spring Lake Park, right? It starts one set at a time. They try to get back into this one here, take set 3, see what happens in another best of 25.
Well, and they have thrown everything that they can at Elk River. I mean, they have played extremely scrappy volleyball here in the first 2 sets. They were down by 7 points in the first set, and they could have given up right then and there and just said, this isn't going to be our night. But they battled back. They had a 23-22 lead in that same set, had a chance to win that first set, and really set the tone. And for Elk River, give them credit, they were able to fight that one out, ended up needing extra points to do it 26-24. And then in the second set as well, Spring Lake Park had early leads, had ties in the middle goings, but just a little bit more Elk River towards the end of the set. And Elk River gets the opening point of set number 3.
Amelia Smith on the set from Addie Preuss. And it's the Elks drawing first blood here in set number 3. It will be Preuss, as she has in all 3 sets now, being the first server for the Elks back there. Preuss nearly got it down for an ace serve. Will be an ace for the Elks here in this one.
As we take a look here, good serve, and just never getting an opportunity. Geiselhardt with a little bit of a miss hit on the first shot there and never recovered.
France bumped it up. Geiselhardt out of system, had to swing it back over for a free ball. Preuss with a beautiful back set to tee it up for Anderson, trying to get her second kill of this third set. Received in the back row by Langben, ripped through by Amelia Smith. Panthers having trouble with it again in this hit receive in the back row. And that is a double hit going against Spring Lake Park, and a now 3-0 run for Elk River to begin game number 3. List of France. They get to the setter, Nussbaum. France hammers it back row again. Langben has had 2 or 3 terrific diving plays like that to keep it alive for the Elks. And it's pushed wide by the Panthers to make it a 4-0 Elk River run.
And this is kind of the danger zone here for a team like Spring Lake Park. They lost the last 4 of set 2. Had a close match throughout, but this is 8 points in a row going back to set number 2. And a couple of really nice defensive plays for Elk River in the process.
Melcher got it back over. A big rip at that one from Herzog, and she'll get the kill as it was tipped back, and another attempt from Langben to try to keep the play alive. On the pass from the libero that time, Geiselhardt bumped it to her.
Just a seed of a shot there.
Really has liked that back set to Smith. Boyce doing it again, and good recovery by Ella Johnson after missing the block. Smith tipped it back over. Rifled through by Morrell. Might have taken a piece off the ceiling again. Preuss will swing it back over for the Elks, who are making their own luck with those types of breaks. And another point here. And Elk River leads it 5-1. That's composure in a sticky situation. Preuss just getting it back over. To Amelia Smith now. Handled by Stout, the DS, who's in for the Panthers now. Morrell swung it through. Preuss setting again. Langben swings it down. Langben's there at the net to stuff it back once again. Can't think of a lot of times tonight where
they're going to talk about this. Ashlyn Peterson, or check that for Langben, rather. She might have been in the net here. She might have landed, as we watch right here. You see that net ripple? And then she looks back at the referee there as well. She's checking.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, they're going to say that Langben was in the net.
So it takes one off the board for Elk River. A quick substitution here before play resumes as Rowe comes in for Molitor to play up front in the middle.
Good serve.
Nice for Geiselhardt. Nicely done.
Again, almost no spin whatsoever. Doesn't even have backspin. Just kind of comes across and knuckles as though it just dies and drops.
Yeah, that does not have much spin, if at all. Geiselhardt sending another one over. Herzog with the rip. And the official's going to get together again. Might have been tipped on its way down. Missed the line.
So I know he's head in. What did you see? I mean, I seen the whole ball on that blue. Okay. So we're going this way.
So they say it's out there. The conversation was around whether the ball was tipped and whether it landed along the line or not. You watch here. It hit the net and bounces. Ooh.
Good work by the officials getting together and sorting it out. Langben bumps it back over for Elk River. Smith with the receive. Pass from Preuss goes near side. Langben rips it down for Elk River. And she got way up to slam down the 7th point of set 3 for the Elks. Ella Johnson getting it over. Serve. Lily Morrell with some steam on it. 7 kills for the senior captain. And it stops the Elk run 4-7 now, with the Panthers trailing. A lot of power on that shot from Lily Morrell. We don't have the fully updated stats for Spring Lake Park, but I think Lily Morrell is probably leading them in kills this year, I would guess.
Yeah, yeah. And France would be right there, probably right around that same amount or shortly behind. Definitely a nice 1-2 punch.
Ashlyn Peterson with that last serve for the Panthers. Rowe got it over up at the front line. Langben tipped it back through. Free ball dumped by Morrell. Smith to Preuss, and once again, it was Maddie Anderson who thought that took a Panther deflection. Elk River arguing the point should be theirs. Officials saying otherwise here as they're going to award it to Spring Lake Park. Might have just got the fingertips.
Might have gotten Morrell's hand there. Hard to tell from that angle.
Blocked out of bounds by Spring Lake Park, so a point for the Elks. This lead is now up to 8-6. Credit Langben with a kill there. And here comes with a serve from Maddie Anderson. A serve that time.
When you're down 0-2 and you have to win the next 3, those are the type of errors that you just have to clean up a little bit and get every point that you possibly can. Don't take away those opportunities, and same could be said for a shot like that. Even though Elk River's up 2-0, you want to control your destiny with your own serve whenever you can.
Morrell serving. Anderson to Smith, who got it through. France trying to ping it to the back row and slams it down. 6-footer, another senior captain with the point to get Panthers back within one. Ricocheting about the fingertips of Natalie Murphy to strike it through. Time with Anderson setting, a little bit off the mark. There's Melcher trying to attack from the back row. Not according to plan there, you would think, from Elk River.
3-0 run here. This is the first time here in set number 3 that we've been all even.
That one just swung at by Langben, and Maddie Anderson is certainly a very capable setter, but man, we did not see a lot of the offense move without Maddie Foyce on the floor through the first 2 sets. And she was just on point as that one is sent too deep from Spring Lake Park.
So that's the 6th time in this match that Spring Lake Park has taken a lead. They have lost the serve in all 6 ensuing opportunities following that. So they've been able to get back to a tie or take a 1-point lead, but have not been able to build anything more than a 1-point lead tonight.
Trying to paint that back corner. Addie France able to slot it right in the perfect spot. 11-10, Spring Lake Park has a lead. So if the pattern holds, they're not going to get this one.
And the pattern, that's the best part about sports, is that you want to get those stats in when you can, because it may not last. So this is the first time tonight that Spring Lake Park has had so much as a 2-point advantage. And you can see right there, they'll take advantage of it whenever they can. And here you go. Maybe something about, it's like talking about somebody making free throws at the free throw line. Once you bring it up, it opens up the floodgates.
Lauren Rowe looked a little bit sheepish after she got the tape on the first serve. Back-to-back aces from the junior. This one looks like it's going to be handled by Elk River and tipped through by Natalie Murphy to put a stop to the Spring Lake Park run. 13-11, nothing coming easy from either team, even when the Elks took the first 2 sets. Service from Melcher is an ace for Elk River. I got 7 for the Elks, 8 for the Panthers in service aces here. Melcher going again, handled by Geselhart. Pass to the back row, Morrell trying to get it through. Blocked up by big Ella Johnson, who averages nearly a block a set, and she's done just about that tonight. I've got her for 3 total blocks.
It's a great play considering she was all alone in the middle on that one.
Langben getting it to Anderson. Nice slide pass, and then Johnson slips in from behind to rip down a kill.
Second 4-0 run here in this 3rd set for Elk River as they retake the lead. This 3rd set has been a lot more runs, 3- and 4-point runs for each team than the back and forth we saw in set number 2.
Trying to get it to France. He steals one back to tie it up. 14-14 in the 3rd set. Spring Lake Park needs to win the race to 25 to force a 4th. Elk River trying to finish it off with a sweep here. It'll be their 2nd road victory, out to a 4-0 start to the year overall. Ella Johnson couldn't get it to the blockers of Spring Lake Park, eventually forced through by the Elks. Morrell swinging back row, received by Melcher, set up at the front row, slammed through by Smith. Panthers able to handle it again and miss hit. Up by Molitor toward the front line for the Elk River point. It is now 15-14 Elks. After this, but thinking about that size coming up over the top of the net and affecting the shot with that Elk River defense. And might have been in the back of the mind of the swing there for the Panthers as that one was sent too deep.
Trying to get over that block and overshoot everything in the process.
That's what I try to tell myself when I play rec volleyball. I don't do anything, but I'm just tall and jump over the net. Then when people miss, I go, that's because I was there. Sometimes Smith bumping it back over for Elk River. Oh, nice dig by Preuss just to get it back on one touch. Langben tipping it up toward the front of the net. And Amelia Smith knocking it off the net and right back to her. A point for Spring Lake Park. It is 15-16. As impressive as Elk River has been, every time they've set up the offense, Preuss has been terrific. I mean, you said it, Nick. Spring Lake Park very scrappy tonight. They have hung around in all 3 sets, and it feels like they deserve at least one here tonight.
Yeah, of course, it was 24 all in the first set. It was within 21-19 in the second set before Elk River scored the final 4, and here we are tied at 16 as Elk River gets a point. So they have been very much in every one of these 3 matches, and only that first 10-3 burst made us maybe think that, you know, Elk River was maybe superior in every way to Spring Lake Park, but that has not been the case with any regard.
Anderson and Johnson going up the block. Johnson again leading the charge defensively in the middle. Tipped through by Langben. A lunge at it from the Panthers, but it's down for another Elk River point. 18-16. The Elks have the edge.
Yeah, really nice spin on that ball going towards the out of bounds line, but would have hit it. And just not much that the Panthers were able to do.
Service error into the net from the Elks' Smith that time. Langben there for 5 kills tonight. Amelia Smith and Maddie Anderson with 4 apiece. Very well balanced attack, like the good teams do. You don't always know where it's coming from the Elks. That time from Langben, ripping it through, tipping off of a Panther paw on its way down.
And again, if Spring Lake Park's going to get one here in this 3rd set, this is when they have to make their move. They're down by 2. They're running out of points here, so they have to. They can't trade points at this point. They've got to win this point defensively and go on a bit of a run here.
How about Addie Preuss tonight too? Number 18 in red, the setter for the Elks. She has been on point tonight. Just about everything right in the breadbasket for her hitters flanking her.
Yeah, she's been tremendous tonight from the back row, really making a lot of plays. We've talked about, of course, the other player, Langben, that's been back there a lot and made some nice defensive plays. But Preuss, and also I've been impressed with her serves as well. She's been able to go on some runs offensively with the serve. So she's really been impressive tonight as we are at that point again. 3-point lead and a real danger zone here for Jay Johnston's team. They have to be the aggressor here, and they've got to go out and take it. Elk River's not going to give it to them. Elk River has made some mistakes, but also Spring Lake Park has made mistakes, so it's been kind of a balance point. Spring Lake Park's got to be the sharp team the rest of the way here if they're going to push this to a 4th set.
Johnston using the first of 2 allotted timeouts. That is the first timeout taken here in the 3rd set. Obviously crucial turning point in this match potentially, with Elk River leading at 20-17, needing 5 more points to finish off a sweep. Ella Johnson, the 6'2" middle with the serve. Oh, nearly blocked by Murphy, and it just leaped back over the top of the net. Swung to the back row, too deep from Amelia Smith to give the Panthers the first point.
And that's
out of that Joy Johnson time.
And that's a little of what I'm talking about right there. You don't have to be perfect in every aspect. Be good enough, long enough for Elk River to be the one that makes the mistakes, because they will at times make mistakes as well.
Trying to tip it through was Murphy, and coming up with the block, the Panthers like getting their mitts on it. Nussbaum was up there with Lauren Rowe, potentially in tandem for that block. rifle through from Langben. That one, I think, snuck through the railings up on the ceiling. Morrell got it through. And into the net on the swing from Anderson. Spring Lake Park comes out of that timeout and then ties it up at 20 apiece.
And a really good 3-0 run, and on 2 of those plays for sure, they have allowed Elk River to make the mistake.
Ripped out by Rowe, and a block led by Jordan Langben, the captain, to put Elk River back in front 21-20. Here comes Maddie Anderson with the Elks now 4 away. Spring Lake Park trying to force a 4th set. A little bit of a lunge by Hillary, kind of having to lean back on that one, but still able to get it over. Nice adjustment to pick up. We've got as her 3rd kill, and it's 22-20. Not a perfect set, but good enough for the sophomore to lean back and deliver it down.
And Joy Johnston takes her 2nd timeout, knowing that a very similar scenario occurred in the 2nd set. It was a close match, close set, 21-19 Elk River. Elk River had the serve, and they were able to pick up the final 4 points. And so very similar, not 21-19, but it was 20-20. And Elk River has been able to pick up the last 2. And so Joy Johnston calling the timeout, which has been advantageous for both teams out of the timeout, to try and stem some of that momentum and try and give the Panthers one last push to try and get this 3rd set.
Got to add timeout points to your stat sheet next time, Nick.
Points after timeouts. It's like points off turnovers.
Coming in here, 22-20, Elk River leading it. I'm just trying to get more work for you.
Absolutely.
And that one is tipped through. Natalie Murphy applying the scoring touch for Elk River, 23-20. And they're 2 away from making it a 3-set sweep. Here's Maddie Anderson back with the serve. By Gesselhart. Through over the Panthers with Morrell again. Launched to the back line by Murphy. Popped up by Nussbaum, who kept it alive. Morrell toeing the line, missed it wide. And it's going to be match point here for Elk River.
Yeah, you'll see the antenna ring there, and it makes contact there. Gets out of bounds.
Andy Anderson with the leaping jump serve. Received by Stout, ripped at by Morrell, too deep, and that's going to do it for Elk River. They polish off a sweep of Spring Lake Park. They take it in 3 to improve to 4-0 and an undefeated start to the season here for Elk River. Spring Lake Park hanging around really scrappy tonight, Nick, but Elk River, when they got it in system, when they got the offense working, they were awfully impressive.
Yeah, really nice job for Spring Lake Park. They really made Elk River work, but Elk River just a little, just enough, I should say, when they needed it at the end of these matches.
Jordan Langben leads the way with 6 kills. We were really impressed as well, too, from Addison Preuss teeing up all of his hitters in red for the Elk River Elks. This was a fun one. I want to thank Ted LaRue, our director, and our entire North Metro TV production crew here from Spring Lake Park, Minnesota, where it finishes in 3 sets tonight. Ends up being the Elk River Elks taking it in 3 over the Spring Lake Park Panthers. From Matt Dean, from Nick Walsh, from Ted LaRue, and our entire North Metro TV crew, thanks so much for tuning into this one on North Metro TV.